Hey guys, many of you saw the pantry system I built for my sister a few months back. I've had so many questions about that middle storage cabinet, so today I'm going to show you how I built that. The great news is if you didn't build this pantry system, this is still a really versatile cabinet that really goes in any room. It's great for storage and you can customize it to fit your style, so let's get to work. Alright guys, so the body of this cabinet uses hardwood plywood. I'm going to be painting my entire thing, so it really doesn't matter what you want to use. You could also use MDF. I just really prefer the way this paints, and it's lightweight compared to the MDF. So I'm going to go ahead and make my side cuts. Now I already had the hardware store rip this down to 15 inches wide each. So I had 3 pieces out of 1 sheet of plywood, and y'all can download the free plans on our website. So I'm cutting my sides first. I've got 2 at 30 inches, and I'm also going to cut my base, which is 34.5. And because I can't, pause for chase. And because I cannot make the full cut, I'm flipping my board over. I'll line my blade up and make the rest of that cut. All right, 1 down, 2 to go. Okay, so now I'm adding my pocket holes. I'm going to start with my base. These are going to be 3/4 inch pocket holes, so I have my Craig jig set to that. If you guys don't know how to use a Craig jig, definitely check out our videos. We have one that shows you how to. It's the best thing ever. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going to put these pocket holes on the bad side, because they're going to face the bottom, face the ground. Nobody will ever see them, so the inside of the cabinet stays clean. And I'm going to add these on both shorter ends and also down one side. That's going to help attach our face frame in a later step. Alright, so you can see right here, I've got my 4 on this side. I'm going to flip it over. Do the same thing on the opposite end. Same side. Okay, so I've got this side, and now I'm going to go down one end. So flip my board like that. Again, still facing the same side, all the way down. Cool. So that's my base. Ta-da. And now I'm gonna do my sides. Pause for sides. All right, so on my side boards, these are gonna touch the ground, so I don't need them on the base, but they are gonna go into our top to hold our top in place, and also down the front end of each side to hold that face frame on. So I'm actually gonna pick my cleaner side to be on the inside. But the pocket holes on this part will face the inside, so you'll see them when the cabinet doors are open. So this is going to be my top. So now I'm also going to go down one end. So that'll be my top, and this will be my front. All right, I've got this side done. I'm going to finish my other one, and then we'll start putting it together. All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm gonna mark this sideboard, each one of them, to attach my base. So I'm gonna mark 2 3/4 on each side, just a little bit down. And you can just use a straight edge. I'm gonna use a speed square because I have it to get my line. And what that's gonna do is give me a line to line up. That's gonna be the bottom of my bottom board right there. So I know where to put my glue and where to attach it. So I've done that on one side, and now what I can do is take my base and attach it. The birds. Maybe probably, yes! Go! So nice. Okay, here we go. Okay, so what I'm doing on this part, besides screaming at the birds, is adding a line of wood glue right here, and that's where I will line up my shelf board. Now keep in mind, you want to keep the pocket holes facing down on this part. So I'll flip this over and attach my other side the same way. Okay. All right guys, so at this point what I'm doing is I'm adding my middle divider, and I'm putting mine center. You can kind of put it where you want based on your storage needs, but I think it works best in center. And it's going to be flush with the back of my cabinet. So I've marked center, and I'm adding just a line of wood glue. Now keep in mind, and the plans will show you this, This board is not quite as wide as these because I've got to leave it back to give room for our doors to close. So it is actually only 14 inches wide. And I'm attaching it using those same pocket hole screws. 1 1/4 inch pocket hole screws. All right, so we have our sides, we have our center. So basically the shell is finished. Now we're gonna add our face frame. The face frame of this cabinet uses 1x4 and 1x3. So I actually bought 1x4s and I'm just ripping my 1x3s down out of that because it's easier. My 1x3s will be my sides and my top, and then my 1x4 is gonna be the base. And I'm gonna make that cut right now. Right when I found my pencil. Literally, it's gone. There. Normally the base of the face frame of a cabinet would be just a bit wider so that I could wrap the sides with trim, but because I'm making this to fit inside that whole pantry unit, it's actually gonna be flush. So the cabinet is 36 inches wide, and that's how wide the space is gonna be. Now for the face frame, what I'm gonna do is go ahead and add my pocket holes, and then I will assemble the entire face frame and then attach it to my cabinet. So I'm still using those 3/4 inch pocket holes. And I'm going to, so these are my 2 sideboards right here, and I'm gonna add these to the base of each one. So that's 1. All right, and now this, excuse me, is my 1x3 longer board. So I am adding pocket holes on the bad side of each end. All right, now let's build our frame. Now for the face frame, I'm attaching everything with wood glue and 1 1/4 inch pocket hole screws through all my pocket holes. I've got my face frame finished, and now I'm going to attach it to the front of the cabinet. And I find the easiest way for me to do it is to lay the cabinet on top of the face frame. So what I'm doing right now is adding wood glue to the front of the shell of my cabinet, and then I'm gonna lay my cabinet on top of my face frame. You want it nice and flush all the way around. You can see I'm going to attach through this pocket hole right here, and I'm going to use 1 1/4 inch pocket hole screws. Okay, I've got that one done. I'm gonna work my way around. I'll start by going down this way and doing all my pocket hole screws right here. Again, making sure I'm nice and flush. So I've got my pocket hole screws put in my base, and now I'm gonna work my way down each side right here and put the same pocket hole screws in place. Again, make sure you're nice and flush. And last one on this side, and then I'll move to the other side. All right, so at this point, I have my cabinet pretty much constructed. I'm actually gonna stop at this point and focus on the doors, because once those are finished, I'll go add my top and back, and then we'll attach the doors. So this is a great time to pause and work on that, which is what we're gonna do. So the doors for this cabinet are very similar to the doors that we used on the pantry cabinet. Actually much easier, but still very similar. What I'm using is, this is actually 3/4 inch plywood. I prefer 1/2 inch for doors, but I have this as scrap and I don't want to spend any more money. So we're gonna use 3/4 inch, no big deal. And then I'm also using Bender board. So lots of questions about Bender board. This is at Home Depot, and it's actually Bender board because it does bend, especially in the longer lengths. So it comes in 8-foot pieces. You can typically find it in like the landscaping boards, like the fencing boards. It's not used for woodworking, but that's what we use it for. And what I've done is I've cut it down to 1.5 inches wide each for these doors. So I'm using this as trim. It's a really inexpensive way to trim something out, especially if you're not gonna stain. It's great for painting. Obviously you can't stain it, but what I've done is I've cut my doors to size, just the size that I need them. You can get that on the free plans. And now I'm attaching everything with wood glue and short nails, 3/4 inch nails, since I am putting a small board into it. So I'm gonna do my long sides first, and then I will grab an exact measurement for the others. So I've got 3 sides done. I've cut my smaller ones to size and I'm attaching those the same way. All right, and now I'm ready to measure for my diagonal pieces. All right guys, so at this point we're ready to mark and cut our skinny trim. I have cut these down to 3/4 of an inch on my table saw. I've also marked center of both doors, and I like to do this side by side just because it's better for my brain. And I'm actually just gonna lay this in place where I want the cut to be and mark it, and then take it over to the saw and cut it. So we'll start with one, make sure it fits, and then we'll move on to the rest. So before painting this and before attaching our doors, I'm going to be adding my shelves. Now, these are completely customizable. On the towers, I actually did shelf pins, so they were adjustable shelving. I'm doing fixed ones on this just because it's a smaller cabinet. I don't think it's necessary to add the shelf pins. So I've marked 13.5 inches down from the top all around. I've attached my first shelf, and this is just that same 3/4 inch plywood. I cut it 14 inches wide to match the centerpiece, and I'm attaching it using 1 1/4 inch pocket holes from the bottom and into it. That way you won't see it on the top of your shelf. All right, I'm going to get the rest of these attached, and then I will stand this up and we'll get some paint put on it. All right guys, I've got my small trim in place. I attached all of that with nails and wood glue as well, and we are ready at this point to give this bad boy some paint. All right guys, so I have my cabinet completely painted right here. It's drying, and I've got my top right here. Now, this is just laminated pine board. You get these at the hardware store. They make great tabletops. They're already ready for stain. So I've cut mine down to size, and I'm going to put a coat of stain on the entire thing and let that dry over here before we attach it. All right, so while the top is over there drying, I'm gonna go ahead and put my hinges on the doors, and then I'll attach them to my cabinet, and then we'll flip the whole thing over to put the top on, in that order. So these are just cute little black hinges that I found at the hardware store. They also have great ones on Amazon. I can link to those. So I've got my first hinge in. I'm gonna get the other 3 on, and then we'll be ready to move on. All right, so actually before I attach the doors, I am gonna go ahead and attach my top. This is dry. I've gone ahead and put it on my top, make sure it was nice and even all the way around. And I'm just using 1 1/4 inch pocket hole screws through the back. And this is why it's great to leave the back off until you're actually done with this part, and do that very last. And I'm just attaching the top to the base. I'm not using any glue on this part because I don't feel that it's necessary. All right, now we're ready for our doors. I attached the doors through the hinges onto the face frame, and I used the cutest pulls I found on Amazon. I'll be linking to those. I also added on the inside of the cabinet some magnet closures, and that'll help the doors to close at the right spot. And as you can see, I also attached barnwood on the back of the cabinet, so it's a great alternative to using a piece of plywood because it's already finished and it adds a lot of character once the doors are open. And I love how it turned out, guys. It looks so cute in my sister's kitchen. You can definitely check out the description box below. I will link to the towers if you missed that build, and you can build this entire set, but these are also great standalone pieces. So it's such a versatile build, and it goes in any room. Be sure to subscribe. You do not want to miss another shanty build. Okay guys, so the carcass, no, I hate that word. Actually, I hate it. Okay, that's what we're gonna call it. DIY. Middle storage cabinet for your pantry. Hey guys, so, no, shut up. All right, this is still a super awesome cabinet for really any room. It's, yeah, really any room. Ugh, last one, I swear. Hey guys, many of you, ugh, shut up. Hey guys, many of you saw the pantry system I built for my sister a few months back. I've had different birds this time. Aren't they lovely? GoPro, stop recording. Just kidding. GoPro, stop recording. I hate you.